Good evening, everyone. Mike Palmer from Know Your Rights Group and Success Coaching International with another very important live video update tonight. So there's been lots of big news this week. We actually covered a lot of it on Tuesday night's radio show. I know that not everybody listens to those shows, even though they should. So we've got a lot to cover tonight. So let's get straight into it. First up, the breaking news from just yesterday is the fact that BankWest, which is owned by the CBA obviously, will be shutting down all of their branches and going completely cashless. Now, this is a pretty major bank, so this is really quite worrying. So I urge you all to have a look at this article, see what they are reporting, and of course react accordingly. So this is entitled BankWest Closes Every Branch as it Scraps Cash and Becomes Digital Only. Here's what it means for you. Commonwealth Bank is closing all branches of its subsidiary BankWest, which will become a digital-only financial institution. Staff and customers were told on Wednesday that the remaining 60 BankWest branches would be either closed or converted into Commonwealth Bank outlets by October, and 350 impacted staff would be offered other roles. Only 15 BankWest branches, all located in West Australia country centres, will be converted to Commonwealth Bank centres, with the remaining 45, 28 in Perth and 17 in regional WA, to close completely. BankWest Executive General Manager Jason Chan said closing the network was a difficult but necessary decision to ensure the bank's sustainability, but admitted some customers would find it quite confronting. Some customers, we'll come back to that. By doing this now and getting a little bit harder, we can unlock that investment and get those jobs and get that new capability and lift the experience for 97% of our customers using digital channels, Mr. Chan said. BankWest claimed, okay, so it's just a claim, BankWest claimed that falling patronage by its 550,000 customers in Western Australia no longer justified the cost of keeping open the branches dotted around the vast state. He said branches were handling an average of just 30 over-the-counter transactions a day, with the regional centres only processing 15. Now, I would like to see the evidence that backs up that claim, because given all of the other media reports that I've read out about BankWest over the past 12 months or so would suggest completely the opposite, because we keep hearing about people desperately trying to get into these branches and they keep closing them down. BankWest has been running branches for well over a century, since it was set up as the Agricultural Bank of Western Australia in 1895 by the West Australian government to lend money to agricultural concerns and farmers. BankWest was criticised last year by Queensland's LNP Senator Gerard Arenik for letting down people in the bush. Farmers and regional customers don't always get wireless and they don't always get mobile reception, he told Daily Mail Australia. It means farmers have to drive further to the next branch. They're basically turning their back on providing services. Now, apparently, it's not going to matter how far they drive, because all branches will be shut. They are all doing it, and it's getting harder and harder. So, yeah, this is really, really worrying and should be concerning for all BankWest customers and, as I'll get to shortly, potentially for all CBA customers as well. Now, there was actually a follow-up article that came out in regards to that, and it explains just how angry and upset some of the BankWest customers have been since hearing that news. And it certainly seems to be a lot more than what the general manager was suggesting. So this article is entitled Commonwealth Bank BankWest to shut down all branches as the company goes digital. Customers are furious as a major regional Australian bank, which is part of CBA, announced closures of every branch in favour of online banking. BankWest's decision to close its branches and move online has been met with fury by its customers. The announcement has been met with anger by many customers who have threatened to take their business elsewhere in retaliation, as they should. The overwhelming Among customers was concern for staff who could lose their jobs, elderly people who might not know how to use digital banking, and a perceived lack of clarity about how the transition would work. BankWest replied to nearly every individual comment on the post to address people's qualms, creating an FAQ page and pinning the link to the top of their post. Well, after banking with BankWest since my childhood, I'll be leaving and changing to a bank with actual branches, one woman wrote. While I don't use them often, if I wanted to bank with a digital bank, then I would have moved to one. Exactly. Adding to the concern about how elderly people can maintain their banking, one woman suggested the majority of the elderly do their banking in stores. How do you offer alternative options if they cannot use online banking, a computer or smartphone, or have hearing impairment and find it hard to speak over the phone, especially to people who don't speak English clearly, she wrote. Some elderly or even disabled people don't have trusted family members or friends in their lives who can assist with their banking, so they trust your workers to assist them and not have the possibility of it being involved in financial abuse from family members or caregivers. So it seems like BankWest are not actually genuinely listening to their customers, but of course are just making these decisions in search of the almighty dollar. Once again, it's all about their bottom line. So as always, I urge everybody out there, and especially if you are a BankWest customer, to send your bank a loud and clear message that these are not the changes that you want to see. Write to your local branch manager, write to the CEO, and perhaps maybe if enough people do that, then they may just reverse their decision. Now, of course, if not, then you would simply take your business elsewhere. Now, whilst I can't vouch for the authenticity of this particular document, which I will hold up for you there. CBA customers may want to look into whether this statement is indeed from the CBA, as it was suggested to be, and if so, you might want to take similar action directly with the CBA, because as they say here, we here at Commonwealth Bank look forward to what a cashless society will bring to Australia. So if they've done it with their BankWest branches, there's certainly no reason to suggest that they wouldn't do it with all of their CBA branches as well. And again, as that document suggests, they're going to start by removing ATMs in Queensland and following suit in other states. So again, I can't vouch for its authenticity. If you are a CBA customer, I urge you to do some research and do some hunting and find out whether that is in fact true or not. And if so, take the appropriate action. So whilst of course we're on this topic of this relentless push towards a cashless society, this is another very timely reminder to please make sure you add your signature to Jason's petition. Okay, that is the online petition to legislate a formal cash and banking guarantee in this country. Okay, there should be a link going up in the comments to this video. If not, again, please just do a search online and add your signature to that petition. Again, I would urge everybody, as always, to please make sure you join our Call Out Cashless Businesses Facebook group. Let's continue to name and shame these businesses that refuse to accept cash, and of course promote those that do accept it. And of course as well, make sure you join that sister group, the Cash is King discussion group, which is a great place to post these articles, share these videos around, all those sorts of things. And let's get this message about this relentless push to towards a cashless society. Let's get that message out there. Let's share these videos across as many different platforms as you can find, as many different social media channels, as many different groups that you're aware of. And again, you'll find those other ones on Facebook. And again, there should be links going in the comments. Okay, so the other breaking news that we covered on this week's radio show, and again, I would urge everybody to listen to that podcast if you missed the live show, and that is, of course, the story about Anthony Albanese being referred to the ICC, which of course is the International Criminal Court, for his potential personal role in the genocide in Gaza. Now, this was the article that we went through on Tuesday night's show. So again, if you haven't looked that up, please make sure you do. And again, please make sure you listen to the podcast. Now, there was a follow-up article which had a lot more detail, which is what I want to refer everybody to tonight, and that is this article there, and I believe there's also a short video on that website that you can have a look at as well if you want to learn a little bit more about this. The title to the article or the web page is Three Men Explainer. Anthony Albanese referred to the ICC as an accessory to genocide in Gaza. A Sydney law firm has written a letter to the International Criminal Court asking it to investigate Anthony Albanese's support for Israel during its attacks on Gaza to see if it amounts to assisting genocide, and if so, if Albanese and other Australian government ministers can be tried for it in court. Australia's support for Israel barely wavered during the first few weeks of its ceaseless attacks on Gaza. Initially, Albanese Foreign Affairs Minister Penny Wong insisted that Israel had a right to defend itself from the Hamas attack on October 7, even when it was reported that Israel was killing civilians, including young children. Eventually, after thousands of Palestinian civilians were killed in Gaza, the language our leaders used to discuss Israel's military campaign shifted to something somewhat more critical, and both leaders conceding that civilian deaths are unacceptable and calling for a ceasefire. However, neither have outright condemned Israel's attacks, with Albanese insisting Australia remains a friend to the state. Sydney law firm Birch Grove Legal said in a statement shared on Tuesday that it referred Anthony Albanese to the ICC over this support to Israel, which it wants investigated on the grounds of potential culpability for genocide. So this is pretty serious stuff. This is not just some wacko deciding to issue proceedings against, the Prime Minister or something. This is an actual law firm doing this. A team of Australian lawyers led by Sharon O'Mary, KC, reportedly spent months documenting what they believe could be alleged complicity in the mass killings of Palestinians outlined by the Individual Criminal Responsibility section under Article 15 of the Rome Statute, which Australia is a signatory of. Now, the article goes on and gives a lot more detail about all of this. And again, if anyone's interested, I do urge you to read that article. But the other interesting bit was sort of the final bit, and it's there's a subheading there saying, so will Albanese go to trial in the ICC? And it says in Australia, the Attorney General, right now that's Mark Dreyfus, has the power to block any prosecution of Australians for international crimes, which is good for Albanese, but not so much for anyone trying to prosecute him for allegedly aiding genocide. However, earlier this month, Senator Lydia Thorpe introduced a bill to Senate to remove those blocking powers. If adopted, that means the Attorney General wouldn't be able to block crimes against humanity cases from being heard in Australian courts, and this case could proceed. Even then, all of this speculation is premature. The ball is now in the ICC's court, and we'll have to wait and see what its investigation finds. So we will obviously be following that story very closely as it develops, and giving everybody updates as they come to hand. But once again, this is a perfect time for you to write to your members of Parliament and let them know your thoughts on all of this, and let's keep the pressure on Albo and all of his cronies. Now, speaking of keeping the pressure on, there's another important article that I want to share with everybody about the fact that Aussies are now being blocked from knowing who is actually representing them when it comes to the proposed amendments to the international health regulations at the World Health Organization. Now, again, this is very, very concerning, and I urge you all to look this up and be aware of what is going on. We all know, obviously, what the World Health Organization is, what they're trying to do by bringing all countries into line with regards to, pandemic responses in the future and these, international health regulations. So it would make sense that we should be allowed to know who's actually representing Australia at these discussions, but it seems like the powers that be here don't want that to happen. I wonder why. So this one is entitled Shining a Light on Hidden Information. I encourage the people of Australia to shine a bright light on this attempt to keep important information secret. According to Sean Lane, the Assistant Secretary of the International Strategies Branch in the Australian Government's Department of Health and Aged Care, the Australian people are not allowed to know who is authorised to represent them at the negotiations being conducted by the Working Group for Amendments to the International Health Regulations at the World Health Organization. And it goes through some key dates. On the 30th of January 2024, so only a month or so ago, an Australian citizen submitted a request for information from the Department of Health and Aged Care, the department seeking access under the Freedom of Information Act 1982. On the 22nd of February 2024, the Australian citizen and the Department of Health and Aged Care agreed to modify the scope of the request to the following. I request names and contact information of all people who have been officially authorised to participate in the negotiations being conducted by the Working Group for Amendments to the International Health Regulations. Then, on March 2024, so we're only talking 1 week ago, Sean Lane, an Assistant Secretary at the International Strategies Branch of the Australian Government's Department of Health and Aged Care, denied the Freedom of Information request and, among other reasons, stated the following. You have requested access to data that is held in computer systems ordinarily available to the department. Pursuant to Section 17 of the FOI Act, the department has used its computer systems to produce one written discrete document that contains the information you are seeking to access. I have decided to refuse access to that document, however, as it contains fully exempt material. I consider that disclosure of the conditionally exempt information at this time would provide access to documents held by an agency of the Commonwealth, which would promote the objects of the FOI Act by providing the Australian community with access to information held by the Australian Government. Would not inform debate on a matter of public importance. Really? You don't think who's representing us at the World Health Organization with regards to amendments to the International Health Regulations is an important matter for public debate? What else could be more important? Would not promote effective oversight of public expenditure. Well, if we knew who was representing us, then absolutely we could oversee who was spending our money in this process. I've decided that the document is conditionally exempt from disclosure under Section 47E of the FOI Act. I consider that the following public interest factors weigh against disclosure of the conditionally exempt information at this time on the basis that disclosure, A, could reasonably be expected to prejudice the workplace health and safety management functions of the agency. I.e., if we knew who was involved in this, they'd probably get lynched. Would not provide any benefit to the public in contacting the department in relation to this matter, as existing channels of communication are sufficient. Really? Why not just tell us who the person is that we need to be writing to directly so we can express our will directly to them rather to some nameless department? Gee, I wonder what they're trying to hide. In making my decision, I have not taken into account any of the irrelevant factors set out in sections 11B4 of the FOI Act, which are access to the document could result in embarrassment to the Commonwealth Government or cause a loss of confidence in the Commonwealth Government. You think? Well, denying this information has, as a byproduct, caused that exact stuff that you're trying to avoid. Conclusions for the reasons set out above, after weighing all public interest factors. Well, they haven't weighed in my public interest factor, and I doubt that they've weighed in any of your public interest factors. And for and against disclosure, I've decided that on balance, disclosure of the conditionally exempt information would be contrary to the public interest. Well, I'm part of the public, and I can tell you I'm interested. And I'm sure a lot of you out there are nodding as you're listening to this video and watching along as well. So I'm not sure how they come to that conclusion. I'm satisfied that the benefit to the public resulting from disclosure is outweighed by the benefit to the public of withholding the information. Are you serious? It's just boggles the mind that they can, write this rubbish and, expect people to just, roll over and accept it. Look, I could go on all night, about the real reasons why they don't want this, information released to the public. But I'm sure everybody watching this update is smart enough to figure, most of that out for themselves. So I'll leave it with you. And once again, I do urge you to write your own FOI asking for the very same information or similar information you like. And let's bombard this agency. Let's bombard this department with these requests so they know that we are onto them, and it's absolutely in our interest to disclose this information. It's only when we band together, once again, collectively, that we can force them into taking action. All right, so a couple of points before I wind up tonight. Firstly, as I mentioned before, we had a huge radio show on Tuesday night. And again, that podcast has been uploaded, and I would urge everyone to make sure they listen to that podcast, because in addition to all of the information that we covered on Albanese being referred to the ICC, we also spoke more about the legislative powers of the states and why they simply cannot make laws in regards to travel among the states. A really, really key point that I'm sure you can understand affects pretty much everyone in this country. We also discussed the major car manufacturers that are now significantly revising their EV electric vehicle targets, and we also went through another important COVID update. So there was lots of really, really great information in that podcast. Now, in addition to all of that, we also formally announced all of the dates and venues for all of our live events around the country that we will be holding for the remainder of this year. And tickets are now on sale for all of those events, and you can find out all the information you need via the link on our seminar page. Again, you should find a link in the description to this video. There should also be a link going up in the comment section, or of course you just click on the seminar tab on our Know Your Rights Group website. Now, you can find the details of these updated, revamped events, and as well as exactly what specific topics we're going to be covering on what particular days. And you'll also note on that seminar page that our very special 20% off early bird discount promotion is on for the next 2 weeks. So obviously, to encourage people to lock in and secure their seats early, we are offering that additional 20% discount. So if you do want to secure your seats at that extra special price over the already exceptionally priced events as they are anyway, then please do take advantage of that sooner rather than later. Now, the other thing that we mentioned on that show that I inadvertently forgot to mention on our last video update is the fact that we do now have a new batch of our USB CD DVD drives available. So as you can see here, they have a USB-C and USB-A connector, so they'll work on a PC, on a Mac, on a laptop, on a desktop, anything. You can plug that in, you put the CD or DVD in, there's a number of USB slots, so you can convert the data from our discs straight onto USB stick. You'll see there's also a little slot over here for an SD card, so you can convert everything from the CD onto an SD card or a USB stick. So it's a really, really convenient way. If you don't have a CD or DVD drive in your computer, in your laptop, but you do want to access all the really great information that we have on, like our Halsbury's Laws of England and our Constitution Commission report CDs, some of the DVDs, the home study courses. If you don't have those in your computer, this is a really convenient way to do that. So you will find those on our shop page. Otherwise, again, there should be a link going up in the comment section if you want to grab that. Now, just be aware that our last batch sold out within a couple of weeks. We do expect these to go quickly. So again, get in sooner rather than later if you want one of those units. And the last point that I'd like to make is please do be aware that it is actually a long weekend here in Victoria this weekend. So please do keep that in mind, and do understand that unless you place your order tonight or first thing tomorrow, orders won't go out actually until next Tuesday. And as I also mentioned on Tuesday night show, I am very busy once again with my annual work at the Moomba event. So again, I would ask everyone to please keep all non-essential emails until after next Wednesday when I finish that, because I'm just going to be doing crazy hours between now and then. So if you can leave any non-urgent emails till Wednesday, and I'll get onto those then. All right, finally, to finish up tonight, as we always do, I'm going to go through some more really great memes to get people thinking. This one is about good old political correctness. It has gone completely nuts. The whole world's gone completely nuts, to be honest with you, at the moment, but this politically correct rubbish seems to be especially out of control. So as it says there, Pa, what does politically correct mean? Well, son, it means giving up your own opinions and beliefs in order to please some whiny little crybabies. And I think that pretty much sums it up. Yes, this is another good one because we are being, charged for everything. We're being taxed for everything. We're being told to pay for everything. And yet this is not the way it's supposed to be. The earth provides for free. So as it says there, no one owns the water. No one owns the land. No one owns the oceans. And no one owns the sand. These are given by our mother. The planet provides for free. Only by the hands of the greedy does the earth require a fee. And again, I'm hoping a lot of you can understand and relate to that. And finally, yes, some thoughts on, really how many more of these video updates do we need to do before we really get through to everybody? Because as it says there, the truth is you shouldn't even need to research at this point. Common sense should reveal the absolute absurdity of what is happening in the world right now. Along the lines of paying for everything, this insane push for cashless society, this insane erosion of our, rights and freedoms, this, insane push to control everybody. It just doesn't add up. And, please, wake up, people. And if you're one of the people who has woken up and you're watching this video, again, as always, I urge you, please share this around as far and as wide as you can, and let's get this message out there to the people that, for whatever reason, are still asleep and need to understand what is going on behind the scenes, behind all the rubbish that the mainstream media keeps shoving down our throats. And finally, I think this is a really, really good one. I'm sure many of you, like me, are sick of being called conspiracy theorists. So as it says there, conspiracy theorists haven't gotten anything wrong in the past 3 years. Don't you think it's time we started calling them the experts? Again, to me at least, it just makes sense. So I'm going to leave things there for tonight. As always, I do urge you to make use of all of the various resources that are available to you to please get informed, get fired up, and get proactive. We need that again this year more than ever. As always, there is tons of completely free information on our website, on the other websites that we recommend. These videos, again, are completely free to watch. If you've missed any of the past ones, you'll find them on our BitChute channel. There's a lot of them on our YouTube channel, and also, of course, on the videos tab on our Facebook page. Our radio shows, again, of course, completely free to listen to every Tuesday night between 8 and 10 p.m. If you have missed any of our previous shows, they are all uploaded as podcasts within 24 to 48 hours after the show goes to air. It costs less than $5 a week to become a podcast member. You get to listen to all of our back catalogue of 9.5 years worth of podcasts. All the music's edited out. It's straight content. You get notes for the shows, the articles that we cover. There's even transcripts of the shows available now as well. So it's a really great way to dive into all of this information as a podcast member. And of course, if you want to go above and beyond all of that, we do recommend our Know Your Rights book, the essential step-by-step manual for understanding and exercising your rights. Covers a whole range of topics, some that people are really interested in knowing about, and a whole lot of others that people don't even know that they're interested in learning about because they didn't even know that they exist. Things like Unidroit and private law and all those sorts of things, the straw man concept. Please make sure you grab that book and get your head around those chapters. That Aussie Speeding Fines book, as I've mentioned many, many times before, perfect for challenging all manner of unjust and unlawful fines. They've had their tried, tested and proven 3-step process for 17 years now, so this information works. I read out testimonials from the members, every couple of videos that I do. So grab that book. And of course, I know a lot of people really genuinely are struggling financially at the moment. So please stop throwing good money after bad. At these unsecured loans, your credit cards, personal loans, you can use that tried, tested and proven 4-step process for discharging, eliminating those unsecured debts in that book. So you can get these all individually. Again, there's links in the description. There should be links in the comments. You can get them all together as part of the combo pack. You save a little bit of money by getting them all together, all three. You also get our Know Your Rights tote bag included just as a bonus, no extra charge. We do, of course, have our Know Your Rights caps and beanies. Not sure that anyone on the East Coast is going to be needing beanies this weekend. I think it's going to be pretty high temperatures along there. But again, grab the caps, protect your head. People notice the logo. They come up, they have a chat. Great way to meet like-minded people. And of course, most importantly, don't forget that home study course. Obviously, the best thing to do is get along to our live events. It's a great way to, really, get into this information, ask any questions you might have, and of course, meet other like-minded people. But if you can't get to the live events for whatever reason, grab that home study course. It is a complete recording of one of the 2.5-day events. 3 custom-made workbooks, a section there, you can write notes next to every presentation, every slide that we do. There's 17 DVDs, a CD with all the documents that we use ourselves. Pause, rewind, fast forward in the comfort of your own home. It's a resource that you'll come back to again and again and again and again over the years as you confront these various topics. So grab that. Again, there's a link in the description. So I'm going to leave things there. For those of you in Victoria, I hope you have a very happy long weekend. For everybody else, have a very happy normal weekend. We'll be back on Tuesday night with our radio show. No live video, of course, on Sunday night, but I will be back next Thursday night instead. Until then, take care, everyone.